Welcome back. We're still waiting for markets opening. There are a few results we didn't cover because we had Mr. Rajneesh Kumar. So we'll have Rima with us in just a minute. Prakash Diwan will also be joining us. But State Bank of India, I wanted to ask our guests. Ashwini, what's your sense? Is there more to go? Everybody is given a thumbs up to the stock.
Well, it hasn't really performed. I think the lows were about 150 and hardly, 190 thereabouts. So it is probably the worst performing bank. I think still, at best 210, 220. But I don't think it's suddenly going to start to outperform the private sector banks. Within PSU banks, it'll probably do the best. But overall, it's a really big underperformer.
Okay, underperformer it is. Yeah, Prakash Diwan is joining us now. Prakash, good morning. In fact, since we are on the topic of State Bank of India, what would be your view here?
So yes, I mean it does look like we've staring at an improvement or a completion of the new NPA cycle and the way they've kind of managed and all. But Anuj, I still haven't got the conviction that the banking space is already out of the woods, that I would want to start allocating money to it in terms of fresh buying. So and then if that were to happen, it would still be private sector banks. It would very clearly be towards the private sector banks and not an SBI. In spite of all these sum of parts logic, working in favor and all that. So for me, it's still a pass.
Okay. Prakash, hi, good morning. Auto sales, they've been a big recovery month on month. What is your pick of the pack now? And, both for longer term as well as for medium term?
So, Sonia, yes, the recovery seems to be optically very promising, but I guess it's more on the back of a lot of pent-up demand that's accumulated over this month, where suddenly we saw this lockdown easing out and people had committed buying decisions which are already in place. If you actually, so my channel checks with dealerships tell me that it's not some exuberance that's come back into people wanting to really own that. In fact, it's a pre-owned market which is taking much more, that's getting a buzz much faster. People are actually looking at pre-owned cars, second-hand cars in a much bigger way. And from that perspective, if you see the kind of buying that will happen will be more towards entry-level diesel passenger vehicles. And M&M, which has only shown tractor sales recovery and not yet PV sales, will probably be a very key beneficiary. So I don't think, of course, stocks have risen. Maruti's kind of already done such a huge run. And I wasn't very convinced with the results also. So I'm not too sure whether all auto numbers are going to reflect in share prices. But M&M would probably still stand out as a key beneficiary or gainer in the next couple of months as well. But watch out for the August-September numbers. Those are going to be a more longer-term trend setting kind of indicator.
Oh, absolutely. If 1 month does not a summer make. But actually, Prakash, a couple of more numbers which we didn't discuss earlier. Rima is just wrapping it up for us.
Thanks, Lata, for that. Let me start with Motilal Oswal, where the profit was boosted on account of MTM gains. But on the flip side, there was a provision on account of the MCX trade. But stripped of that, if you look at the profit before MTM and pre-exceptional, it's gone up by 28% on a year-on-year basis. For Prince Pipes, this quarter, if you look at the sales, it's down 20%. But there has been a significant pickup on a month-on-month basis. So for instance, in June, the sales went up by 12%. So that is a positive sign that there is a recovery that you can see month-on-month. RPG Life, actually the numbers look good. There is a margin expansion of more than 200 basis points and profits too went up by 12.5%. Tata Chemicals got impacted by the lockdown, so their profits were, down close to 67%. So that's a weak quarter, Tata Chemicals, and it was a top-down weak quarter. And Vinati Organics largely steady. No big gain, no big loss. So profits were just down close to about 1%. Some more numbers for Dalmia Bharat Sugar. The numbers look good. Their revenues went up 51% on a year-on-year basis, while the profits more than doubled. So that constitutes a good quarter. And 3 companies came out with their Q4 numbers. Jain Irrigation, there is a loss this time of 32 crores, so that's a weak quarter. MEP Infra, there was a loss of 48 crore for the March quarter, another weak set. And Alok Industries has reported a sharp decline in their profits on a year-on-year basis in the March quarter. So Jain, MEP Infra and Alok Industries weak in the March quarter.
All right. Thanks a lot for putting all those numbers, Reema. Prakash, actually, I wanted to ask you more generally, in the mid-cap space, did anything stand out for you in terms of performance? In all these Vinatis and the stocks that have been chased anyways.
No, so, that's the whole point, Lata. What's happening is the good quality mid-caps are anyways far and few in between. So the premium that some of them have started attracting, if you even look at the likes of GMM, Fodler and, HLE and all, I'm saying the entire pack that's doing well is this pharma stroke FMCG stroke chemicals. That is getting into overvaluation or overpriced territory very evidently, So I would still stick to the large caps at this point in time, and the standout numbers from, let's say, UPL and all give you that conviction that that's the space where you will still have some sort of a respite. If even if the price goes up, the earnings will catch up somewhere. In the mid caps, what could happen is if you have a bad quarter, then the differential between the P multiple expansion and the EPS growth is so wide that you will start getting very vulnerable, and that's exactly where volatility in the markets is going to take a toll. So I would still stick to the large caps. Mid caps, I haven't come across anything which is so standoutish that you would want to buy, especially because prices have already run up, as I said. And I would yet be a bit hesitant to start writing checks for new acquisition, especially in the mid caps.
Okay, 1 minute, Prakash. The markets have opened. And I wanted to see the SBI performance. SBI is coming up 1.3% higher. Most of the techs are higher, which is a bit of a surprise because the dollar is strong. Okay, I think it's more a dollar play. The dollar is stronger, so tech is favored today. And Tata Motors started with 10% downtick. It will perhaps recover as the pre-market rates settle.
It will recover, but remember we have an ADR which reacted to the numbers, which was down about 3%, but after that we had a couple of brokerage upgrades, so perhaps Tata Motors could recover, Lata. Hero, Maruti, I think Maruti could be a stock to focus on, good numbers from Maruti, so that obviously is something. Bandhan Bank, where the block has to happen, I think that would be a bit weak, so 5.5% lower. Tata Steel, BSL is the stock which is down about 20%. I think that's reacting to numbers. So, but I think this morning, of course, the stocks to watch would really be Tata Motors and Maruti.
Look at this Dixon. I mean, we should pull out a 1 year of Dixon. It's just up and away. Prakash, you want to come in on Dixon? It's supposed to be a beneficiary of this PLI scheme.
Yeah. No, I think it's a great story, but all great stories are good at a price. So my sense is this is again a classic example of being the only player which checks all the boxes. It's run up so fast and so much that you would be overpaying for the goodness. But on dips, it's absolutely an accumulate for sure, and we've been recommending that for quite some time. Yeah.
All right, Prakash, thanks a lot for joining us. Of course, what a stock it's been. Just look at that chart from 1800 to where it is. Udayan Mukherjee is now joining us. Udayan, good morning.
Morning.
Well, good news for you after a long time, right? Arsenal winning the FA Cup. I saw a lot of Arsenal supporters were going, were quite happy about it. So first of all, congratulations to you. And now, let's talk about markets. What have you made of this big move?
Well, thanks, Anuj. I wasn't one of those Arsenal fans who were going bananas because I think it's, the Arsenal bear market has lasted longer than the pharma bear market as well. Let's hope, like pharma stocks, we've started turning the corner of our own, but one swallow does not a summer make. Well, the market, I think, is in far better shape than Arsenal. We've had spectacular rally. It's not just India, all emerging markets. I think the MSCI EM index is 2-3% away from the previous highs in February. So it's been a spectacular global rally. It's been breathtaking. But, it's up 50%, and it looks like the market needs a breather at this point. Now, it may not stop here. I mean, when people expect a breather, and there's been a lot of chatter about how this is a seasonally weak period for global markets, and people start expecting a correction, it does not come. So that risk is always there. But I would still say that the markets probably are ripe for a breather globally and certainly locally. Now, what shape and form, if it comes in, that's the important thing to talk about. At this point, it's difficult to talk about a very deep correction, but corrections have a habit of starting small and then becoming bigger. So I think in August, a lot of the good news has been priced in by the market. The unlock bump, if you will, economically and from a stock price perspective, has been factored in. And now as the results season come to an end, the market will have to look at fresh positives, which are still not in the price. And that might be a bit of a challenge.
Okay. Good morning.